So I just want to say that it may get worse before it gets better. I'm going to say this again. It may get worse before it gets better, but I want you to be encouraged because God is still in it. Just because it's hard doesn't mean that it's not God. Just because it's challenging or it's not going the way that you want it to go, it doesn't mean that God is still not working, because God has a greater plan. And I'm learning this as I'm going through this season of transition, of change. Change is very uncomfortable, but it's necessary, especially when you've been in a place and so comfortable for such a long time, right? It's very uncomfortable. And change can come with pain. Change can come with a lot of misunderstandings, and you're just trying to figure out what's happening in this time, what's happening in this season. And so you may have a lot of questions, and you may not be getting the answers to your questions, right? And so it allows you or causes you to feel doubtful. It causes you to feel inadequate. It causes you to feel out of place, right? And so I just want to encourage you, from one person who's going through change to another, to be steadfast, okay? Continue to hold on to God's word. Continue to cry out if you need to. Just talk to God during the change, during the transitions of life. You're in a place that you've never been before, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate through this place. But one thing is for sure is that God is with you. And as I think about this, I think about Moses and everything that he went through before he delivered the children out of Egypt, the children of Israel out of Egypt. He went through a lot of things. You know, he murdered someone, and then he ran away because Pharaoh was after him. Pharaoh was seeking to take his life because of what he did to the Egyptian soldier. And so Moses uprooted his familiar place, and he ran off into the wilderness, not really knowing where he was going. But God allowed him to come in contact with Jethro, and Jethro gave Moses his daughter in marriage, and Moses created this whole new life in a foreign place, and he became comfortable, right? But then after that, he went through another transition where God called him when on Mount Sinai at the burning bush. And once again, Moses' life was going through another transition. And so life happens for us in different seasons. And the season that you're in now is like a wilderness season where it seems like the things that you probably once enjoyed, you no longer really enjoy them. It seems like the well has run dry. You don't have all the things that you've had before, right? Maybe there's doors that were closed that you really hoped were open. And so those closed doors are causing you to second guess yourself. Those closed doors are causing you to question God and question your faith and question whether or not God is with you. Yeah, that's what the wilderness makes you feel like. You feel like you're in this dry place and that you don't know how to come out of it, right? But the thing is that God is using that dry place to test you, to see how you're going to respond when you don't get all the things that you want, when those doors that you hope would open for you actually closed. Okay, so how are you going to respond in those moments? And that is what God is really doing during this wilderness dry season. And Isaiah 43 and verses 18 and 19, it talks about how God will make a pathway in the wilderness and how he will create rivers in the dry places. And so that is going to happen in a certain amount of time. Just because it's not happening now doesn't mean it's never going to happen. But the enemy wants you to believe that it's never going to happen. And so he's going to keep throwing these darts of doubting, darts of hopelessness, darts of shame. Maybe you have shame because you felt like you obeyed God and it didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to. So now you have this guilt and this shame that you're dealing with, and you're questioning God. You're questioning whether you really heard from God, right? And so you're going through all these emotions and you don't really know what to think. You're second guessing yourself, and you're trying to find clarity. You're trying to find answers. You're trying to find something to hold on to, right? But God sees all of it. And he's using this season to teach you how to trust him in a way you've never even had to trust him before. He's teaching you how to trust him through the fire. You know, you think about that burning bush that Moses saw. He was amazed because he saw this burning bush, but it wasn't being consumed, right? And so it's the same way with us when we're going through that dark place or that wilderness. We're going through the fire, right? But God is telling us that we're not going to be burned, that we will not be consumed by this fire, that this fire will not overtake us. So I just want to encourage you with that. Keep praying, keep crying out to God on the hard days when it's hard. Please keep crying out to God. God will come through for you. He will rescue you. He will give you that word of encouragement if you need it. When you get weary and tired, God will come through. He will rescue you. He is near to the brokenhearted. Okay? Continue to cast all your cares and fears on him because you trust in him. Okay? Take care and God bless.